So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're finally gonna take a quick look at a sniper rifle that was introduced with the Deimos Arcana, the mighty Sporothrix. So first things first, how do you get your hands on this weapon? Well, all the parts, including the blueprint, drop from the new Isolation Vault bounties. More specifically, the Isolation Vault bounty that's level 50 to 60. So you cannot get it from the initial Isolation Vault bounty. All in all, you're gonna have to get the blueprint, a barrel, a receiver, and a stock, and then put in additional 20,000 credits, as well as 2 cranial foremount, which you can get from fishing. Now, the Sporothrix is a Mastery Rank 13 infested sniper rifle that does 371 damage per shot, 155.8 is slash, 115 is puncture, and then 100.2 is impact with a secondary explosion that comes in with a delay of 0.9 seconds. And this explosion has a radius of 1.7 meters with 10% fall off, and it does 41 damage, 22 as slash, and 19 as viral. On top of all of this, the weapon comes with a pitiful 1% crit chance, an above average 3 times crit multiplier, and a massive 53% status chance. It also has a fire rate of 1.83 rounds per second, 9 rounds in the magazine, and a pretty lengthy 2.7 second reload. And finally, as far as the zoom is concerned, we have a 2.7 times zoom, which is the only option that gives you 50% bonus headshot damage, and it has a combo duration of 3 seconds with a combo delay of 2. For the setup, I ended up going with a 3 Forma build where we add 3 Vs and we utilize the D the weapon comes with, and it's pure status. So we have Serration for damage, Split Chamber for multi-shot, then Heavy Caliber where the negative accuracy actually doesn't apply if you're scoped in, so you're just getting the bonus damage, which is great because it scales our damage over time effects. But if you don't mind losing a decent chunk of damage and you would rather have a bigger secondary explosion, you can replace this with Primed Firestorm. Now after that, we put on Fanged Fusillade, and this is going to make our slash procs occur more often. It's not going to increase their damage, but they're going to proc a lot more. After that, we have the exhaust slot, and I didn't really go with anything because the only thing I would potentially put there would be ammo mutation, and that would require 2 more Forma, which I don't think is worth it. Then we slap on thermite rounds for heat and status, a rifle aptitude to utilize the depolarity and give us a ton of extra status, and we top it off with ram rounds and malignant force for viral and status, and this will give us a grand total of 196% status. Now, this is only one of the builds you can do for this. You can of course try to brute force the crit and take advantage of the above average crit multiplier by running flat crit buffs like from Harrow's Covenant or from the Crit Kavat or even from Arcanes, but I really wanted to push status here because despite me not really liking status-based sniper rifles or semi-auto weapons in general, I think it actually works quite well here. I mean, at the end of the day, you can see it in the Simulacrum test, even though Simulacrum for sniper rifles or weapons where you want to be more accurate isn't necessarily the best place to test because, you know, it's much easier to headshot things in the Simulacrum, but still, the weapon does a good amount of damage with a full-on status setup as well. And it's because A, we have a lot of status. I mean, we're almost at 200%, so yep, it can proc a lot of status, which gets even better when you then factor in B, the explosion, because even though the explosion doesn't do a ton of damage, it does enough to usually finish off an enemy that's been hit with the initial bullet. But more importantly, it can proc its own status, and while the status procs from this, primarily the slash and heat, aren't going to be as strong, they're still gonna do a good amount of damage. And that's what the explosion does, by the way. It's not really there to clear enemies out because the radius is pretty small even if you put on Primed Firestorm, and since the weapon is not classified as a launcher, it's just a sniper rifle, you also can't take advantage of Amalgam Furac's body count for essentially free blast radius. So the explosion is mostly there to stagger enemies. It will also stagger you, by the way, so be careful, though it's pretty hard to get hit by it because it's so small. Also doing, you know, a decent amount of damage and most importantly, proccing additional status. Now, as far as the power of the weapon is concerned, it will absolutely blow through the star chart and it will even annihilate sortie level enemies. But beyond that, it kind of depends on you. I'm personally not a very good shot, so I can kind of make it work in low-end steel path, but if you're a really good shot and you get a ton of headshots, you could probably make it work in high-end as well because you get the standard headshot multiplier plus the extra multiplier you get by being scoped in. It can be really, really powerful if you can get those headshots down, especially if you incidentally crit as well, because, you know, you're getting the extra multipliers on there and it will do a ton of damage. I was actually very surprised at how well it dealt with the Acolyte, even though it was Angst, and Angst is somewhat squishy because, you know, Acolytes are rough, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bring some backup weapons because I have no idea what this is gonna do, but there you go, a little bit of slash, a little bit of heat, and bye-bye Acolyte. Look at that. That's nice damage. That is nice damage. So in conclusion, I was very pleasantly surprised with the Sporothrix. I didn't expect to have this much fun with it. It's actually really good, it's very powerful, and I think it's as good as status-based sniper rifles are gonna get without giving them crazy mechanics like, for example, they gave to the Proboscis Sternos. So I would highly recommend you give this weapon a shot, it's pretty cool. And that's kind of it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching as always guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you some other time. Bye bye.